In 2014, a janitor died in Vermont. He left $8 million to his local library and hospital. He drove a used car. He had no financial advisor. He had no inheritance. He had no windfall. He had a broom, a wrench, a gas pump, and 50 years of patience. Nobody who knew Ronald Read saw it coming. This is his story, and it will change how you think about money. Ronald Read spent his working life doing two things. He pumped gas. He swept floors. He worked as a gas station attendant for 25 years, and then as a janitor at JCPenney for 17 more. He earned modest wages his entire life. He never once complained about what he earned, because he was doing something with it that almost nobody around him knew about. Every month, quietly, Ronald bought stocks. Not glamorous stocks, not hot tips. Blue-chip American companies, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, railroad companies, utilities. He held them. He never sold. He reinvested every dividend. And then he went back to sweeping the floor. Richard Fuscone had everything Ronald Read did not. He graduated from Harvard Business School. He rose to become a senior executive at Merrill Lynch, one of the most powerful financial firms in the world. He retired early. He built an 18,000 square foot mansion in Greenwich, Connecticut. He borrowed heavily to fund an extravagant lifestyle. Because why wouldn't he? He was a Harvard-educated Wall Street executive. He understood money better than almost anyone alive, or so it seemed. Here is what nobody tells you about financial success. It is not a meritocracy. The person with the most education, the most prestigious title, the most sophisticated knowledge of markets and instruments and strategies, does not automatically win, because the most important financial skills have nothing to do with intelligence. They have to do with behavior. And behavior is not taught at Harvard. It is built over decades of ordinary decisions that nobody is watching. The 2008 financial crisis hit Richard Fuscone in a way it did not hit Ronald Read. Richard had borrowed heavily against his assets to fund his lifestyle. When the market collapsed, the debt remained. He was forced to file for bankruptcy. He lost the mansion. He lost the lifestyle. A Harvard-educated Wall Street executive who had spent his career advising others about money found himself unable to pay his own. Meanwhile, Ronald Read kept buying. The 2008 crash was a sale. Ronald spent his entire investing life treating market downturns exactly the way a sensible person treats a sale at a shop they love, as an opportunity. When Ronald Read died in 2014 at the age of 92, he left $1.2 million to the Brattleboro Memorial Hospital and $4.8 million to the Brooks Memorial Library. The total estate was approximately $8 million, and he had no financial advisor, he had no inheritance, he had no lucky break. He had a safety pin on his jacket and 50 years of the same behavior. Buy good companies, hold them, reinvest everything, spend almost nothing, let time do the work. Ronald Read never became famous during his lifetime. He never appeared on a business magazine cover. He never gave a TED talk. He just kept sweeping the floor and buying stocks until the two activities had produced something extraordinary. He just didn't make a fuss about it. Ronald Read understood three things that most people never learn. First, you do not need a high income to build significant wealth. You need a high savings rate and enough time. Second, the stock market rewards patience more than intelligence. Ronald never tried to outsmart it. He just stayed in it. Third, your lifestyle is the biggest threat to your financial future. Not the market, not bad luck. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is the only number that actually matters. Ronald kept that gap wide his entire life. Not because he was poor, because he understood that the gap was the engine. Everything else was noise. Ronald Read's jacket hung on a hook for 92 years of ordinary mornings. The safety pin that held it together was not a symbol of poverty. It was a symbol of a man who understood something most wealthy people never do. That the point of money is not to display it. The point of money is to free the people you love from the fear of not having enough. Ronald freed an entire community. He just did it quietly, on a janitor's salary, with a safety pin, holding his coat together. You don't have to be Ronald Read, you just have to understand what he understood. Start, be patient, let it work. Ronald Read's story is told in the opening pages of The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, one of the most important books written about money in the last 20 years. I cannot recommend it enough. And if Ronald's story made you think about your own gap, the distance between what you earn and what you spend and what you're doing with the difference, That's a free 20-minute conversation. The link is below. No pitch, no pressure. Just the conversation Ronald never had, but you still can. Start today, be patient, let it work.